Be slow to judge others. Examine your conscience, and take care to avoid passing judgment on the behavior of others. Passing judgment on others is a sign of vanity, is often erroneous in its results, and may even be sinful. How common it is that we judge ourselves to be better than we are. We are too likely to think that we ourselves are as we wish to be. In the thicket of our feelings, we lose perspective. If we really cared only for God's opinion of us, we would not become so upset whenever 15. Let charity be the motive of your actions. Everything you do should be done not for any worldly motive or out of human respect, but out of consideration for the needs of another. In the latter case, you may put off rendering another a favor today for the sake of doing him a better one tomorrow. Unless charity is your motive, your external works are of no spiritual profit to you. On the other hand, even the smallest act of kindness done out of concern for the welfare of another is very fruitful. God is more interested in, and counts as of greater value, the motive of love than the number of good works that spring from it. He who loves much does much. He who does a thing well also does much. Doing a thing well means doing it for the sake of the common good rather than out of self-interest. But do not be deceived. What looks like charity is often an act of selfishness. The motives by which people commonly act are these: bodily appetites, a hope for reward, a preference for ease and comfort, and plain self-interest. The truly charitable person, however, seeks to glorify God rather than please himself. Not desiring praise for himself, he envies no one. Desiring to glorify God, he praises God for all human goods as their source. He sees God as a fountain in whose waters all the blessed will one day experience peace and joy forever. Any persons who have a spark of true charity in their hearts can see that all merely earthly things are vanities. Deal patiently with the faults of others. Until God changes the conditions of our existence, we should deal patiently with the faults we cannot mend, in ourselves as well as in others. Perhaps God allows such faults in order to test us. For until we develop patience in the face of trials, our merits will be of little value. Certainly we should pray that God will help us bear up with annoyances by teaching us the spirit of patient acceptance. If a person has had a fault reprimanded but fails to amend it, do not nag him about it. Instead, commend him to God, and pray that God's will may be reflected in the lives of all his servants. God best knows how to bring good out of evil. So be patient with whatever defects and infirmities you find in others. Keep in mind that you yourself are in some ways a burden to others. If you have difficulty being the person you think you should be, how much more difficult it would be to try to make another person more to your liking. How ready we are to wish other persons were perfect. Would that we worked as hard at eliminating our own defects. We much prefer to see others corrected than to accept any correction of our own behavior. We begrudge others the freedom they enjoy, yet fight against having our own freedom or privileges restricted. We think that others should conform their lives to rules and regulations while we do as we please. If it were the case that all people were perfect, how could we suffer for the sake of God? It is God's will that we learn to bear one another's burdens. No one is without some defect. Everyone carries some burden. No one is completely self-sufficient or sufficiently wise. We need to support one another, offering comfort, assistance, and instruction, and we need to admonish one another too. A person's true value becomes clear when a time of trouble comes, for adversity does not weaken us, but shows what sort of persons we are.